Welcome back to CryptosRUs. Oops, got the wrong screen. Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, we'll talk about Bitcoin. I know some of you guys are getting restless. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Also, main topic is Avalanche. Reasons to be Avalanche. A lot of good reasons. A lot of things happening within the ecosystem. And some top dApps are doing fantastic. So I'm going to cover them all tonight and explain why Avalanche is definitely something you should be bullish about. All right, thanks for tuning in. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what? I just got back. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on. I actually took some time this afternoon and went to watch Spider-Man with the kids and the family, although that turned out to be really good. I mean, it's a really good movie, but now afterwards, a lot of stress, a lot of stuff going on. So, getting back to the gist of things, even though I was only away for a few hours. But anyways, let's talk Bitcoin. Let's talk Avalanche. So I know Bitcoin, unfortunately, fell back down to the 47 range again. So I know a lot of people are feeling restless, feeling scared, feeling not knowing what to do, right? Like not knowing what's going on. And that is the reason why the fear level is still high. And take a look at this. The number of USDT basically has been going up and up and up and up and up and up, right? Now, at face value, this explains it. Well, it's going up because a lot of people are scared. They're afraid to make the next move, right? So that's why they're stocking up on USDT, and this could explain why there's little movement right now with Bitcoin, and that's because there's so much money sitting on the sidelines. Well, that may be the case, but let's not forget there is a tremendous amount of stablecoins, not just USDT, but USDC and BUSD and many billions that's sitting on the sidelines waiting to enter, right? So it could be a tsunami of buying once it starts going. Once people get out of this funk and once people start really believing in the market again, right? I believe in the market. I know you guys believe in the market. But there's many others right now that are just sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting, right? And unfortunately, sometimes when you wait too long, you kind of miss it all. Now, a couple interesting things about Bitcoin before I get into main topic of Avalanche. Number one, I never thought I would hear this, but the IMF chief economist is now saying, let's not ban crypto. Let's regulate it instead. Well, it could be because they realize that the cat's out of the bag and there's just no way to stop it anymore. Every single country is looking at Bitcoin and crypto. Every single company is looking at it. And every financial institution and banks is looking at it. So it's kind of too late to go down this route and say, okay, we need to ban crypto. So it could be that is the reason. So now they're saying, okay, let's regulate instead of banning, right? And they were really, and they still are really against El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. Everything that they come out with is basically saying, okay, it's a bad idea, right? But maybe they learned that they can't push around countries like El Salvador anymore. And pretty soon, other countries are going to adopt. So now they're kind of changing their tune. So that's pretty good. Pretty good overall. What else is there? Well, I've talked about a lot of money sitting aside, a lot of people fearful, right? So according to a lot of chartists, and I've been showing you guys, this morning I showed 8 different signals about how Bitcoin is ready to bounce. It's right at that point, and a lot of TA people are also making the same note, looking at moving averages and looking at where Bitcoin has found the bottom or support level, right? And many feel like Bitcoin is definitely oversold right where we are now, about the 46, 47 range, right? And an imminent bounce could be right around the corner. So that, yes. And last 2 things. despite all those things, right? The number of wallets holding at least 0.1 Bitcoin continues to go up. So despite the fact that there is some fear, that there are a lot of people that are in doubt, and there may be FUD out there, well, the holders, the ones that's been in the game and they have lived through all the volatilities, right, of the last, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, even 6 months, right? They continue to buy and believe it. They're like, this is nothing. This is nothing compared to what we have seen before, right? And we may be going sideways for a little bit. It's nothing that we haven't seen. So this is very telling. Number of addresses holding at least 0.1 coins continue to go up. And here's something else that's telling. Number of addresses basically with less than 10 Bitcoin. So now this is a lot higher than 0.1, right? Less than 10 is still a significant amount, right? And that continues to go up and up and up and up too. So there are a lot of people that are buying behind the scenes. I've been talking a lot about institutions and public trade companies and other, big whales out there that keep accumulating, right? But this also shows you small fish in the pond. Retail investors are also stacking sats as much as they can right now. So this is all going to add up. It's all going to add up. It's simple as supply and demand is increasing and supply is decreasing. So it doesn't matter what happens near term. What's really important is what's going to happen long term. And that is Bitcoin to becoming a global, what do you call it? Powerhouse. Let's just put it that way. All right. So that's what I want to lead off with Bitcoin. Now, while Bitcoin is staying around where it is now, 47,000, 48,000, right? But today we did have a lot of good recovery. A lot of the altcoins went up big, 5, 10, 15%, right? And some are still holding in green, although some have started turning to red. But one coin that I want to talk about, that is Avalanche, that has broken into top 10. They're sitting right behind Polkadot, and you can see that they have been recovering pretty darn well. Up 14% last week, up about 9% for 30 days, but up 44% in the last 90 days. And of course, if you go back a year, about 2,700%. And I do believe they still have a lot of room to grow because I'm going to show you why. There's just a lot of stuff going on, right? One of the projects I picked up on late, I can't take credit for getting in early, but ever since I picked up on them, started doing more research, started paying attention to them, there's just a lot of stuff going on in Avalanche. So that is why I'm very bullish on it right now. All right, so what is going on? Well, let me first talk about a few pieces of news and metrics that are very important when it comes to Avalanche, or actually to any L1. And also cover a few of the dApps that's within that are just as hot, and they're only growing too. So take a look at this. This is interesting. Right after Powell's speech, which was yesterday, I believe, or maybe it was Monday. No, it was yesterday. No, it was not Monday. It was Wednesday. Today is Thursday. Yeah, so it was yesterday, and I'm getting my days all confused. But look at it. Avalanche actually leading the rebound after the speech. And it's interesting that Delphi Digital actually plotted every single one. And you could clearly see the one true leader right now after the speech, which has only been one day, is Avalanche. So I just thought it would be interesting if someone even made a chart of that. Of course, other important things such as address. Take a look. Since September, October of this year, number of addresses has been blowing up like exponentially, like moonshotting, right? So it shows you that there are a lot of people that's using Avalanche right now. Bank of America recently talked about Avalanche and made the case how their scaling definitely is advantageous and how many others will probably flock to Avalanche, including Bank of America themselves. So that's interesting. BitGo recently added Avalanche so that their exchanges will soon trade Avalanche. And also, they are custodians, so they will also hold Avalanche. So this is important for institutions that are looking into buying a L1 like Avalanche and storing it. So that's pretty good. So a lot of services and fundamentals that keeps growing. Today also, Avalanche was listed on Kraken. They were listed on Binance, on Voyager not too long ago. So they're also, their presence is expanding on exchanges. And what about DEXs? What about DeFi? Well, that's where they're really exploding right now, right? So the biggest one is Trader Joe. So Trader Joe is a one-stop shop, decentralized trading on Avalanche. Basically, they are the biggest AMM on Avalanche, where you could actually trade, but you can also pool, farm, lend, stake, everything you could think of. Trader Joe got you covered, okay? But besides that, this is one of those dApps that's just growing by leaps and bounds right now. First of all, FTX just listed Trader Joe, so that's positive. Take a look at this. This is interesting. This is measuring crypto fees, okay, in terms of DeFi projects and chains overall. And you can see that Trader Joe's listed at number 4, right under Binance Smart Chain, Uniswap, and Ethereum. These are big boys. And Ethereum is just a chain. It's not even a DEX, right? Uniswap is. Binance Smart Chain is a chain. But then look at everything else. Trader Joe, Aave, Sushi, Compound. They're all, DeFi lending protocols, right? And Trader Joe's among the top. So kind of shows you how many people are actually using it right now. Also, Three Arrows Capital, which is a big VC firm that's invested in DeFi projects. Well, they're invested in Trader Joe, among many, but they are one, right? Also, if you look at just some of the metrics, the fundamentals for Trader Joe, you'll realize they're pretty impressive. More volume than Sushi and Uniswap, 10x more users than the second dApp that's on Avalanche, so they are by far the leader, right? 9th highest protocol revenue, 61% yield for stakers. I mean, these are pretty impressive stuff, right? So I know a lot of people that are on the Avalanche ecosystem, they're definitely using Trader Joe, but in itself, it's actually a very impressive AMM if you compare it to the likes of even, Uniswap, right? So this is definitely helping Avalanche grow, and that's only one of them. The second one is Pangolin. Pangolin is also a DEX AMM, kind of very similar, but a little bit different. They consider themselves more open, open scale. I mean, community driven, right? But ultimately, kind of the same thing. They are the second biggest DeFi project, second biggest AMM, on top of Avalanche. And you know what? A couple interesting statistics about Pangolin. Well, highest social engagement, actually right behind Avalanche themselves. So that's pretty positive, meaning a lot of people is talking about them, right? Also, TVL is an important thing, but Pangolin also has other things like revenue share with their users. So that's also pretty good. And Pangolin itself is also being listed on many other places too. So that's also pretty positive. CoinEx lists Pangolin. So there are a lot of exchanges that's also adding it, kind of like Trader Joe. And again, when it comes to these dApps, these DEXs, the more popular and the more used they are, the better it's going to be for Avalanche, because they're running on Avalanche, causes Avalanche to have a lot of coin burning. AVAX is staked and locked into these pools. So overall, it's just really helping everything. And the third biggest one is also in the space and DeFi space is Benqi. Benqi is a liquidity provider. It allows people to supply liquidity and also borrow and earn. So think of this as like the Aave of Avalanche, right? You got 3.8 billion liquidity, and here's an example of some of the APY that you can earn with USDT, USDC, right? And also Avalanche and Link and some of the others, right? So they're definitely also helping Avalanche grow. And they're helping Avalanche get into metaverses too, because there's this game called Imperium Empires, which is making a lot of news right now. Well, Benqi's partnered up with them, right? So Imperium Empires is the world's first AAM game. metaverse that's going to be on top of Avalanche. So Avalanche doesn't just have DeFi. Well, they're getting into GameFi too and NFTs as well, and they're not alone. Here's another one, medieval metaverse called Tailcraft. Also looks pretty darn good too. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming on top of Avalanche, right? So all this added together, this is why I think it's definitely a growing network protocol. It's growing L1, and I think there's many reasons to be bullish on Avalanche, and I do believe that it will continue to go up. With how much Polkadot is struggling these days, it would not surprise me that Avalanche will flip them, and I'm talking about pretty soon. There's only 700 million between the two. That could flip in a single day, and then, you know what? They're going to be pressed right against XRP. I think they could surpass them too and be right next to Cardano. And who knows, after you're at Cardano level, then you could be right next to Solana soon. They're following the same footsteps as Solana, and one of the projects that I really believe in. So there you go. That's Avalanche. A lot of stuff going on with Avalanche. All right. Outside of that, that's it. You know, the only other thing is, before I get in Q&A, I do have a new sponsor. And this relates to a chain that I don't talk a lot about, but if you looked into them, they're actually pretty interesting. IotexPad, which is a chain that's all about IoT devices. And we have heard this before. There are many smaller projects that's kind of involved with IoT devices. In fact, IOTA was concentrating on IoT devices, and they kind of got out of it. But this is a chain that's dedicated to it, connecting all the little devices that we take for granted now, all the smart home devices and everything else that's feeding off data, right? This is a whole chain for that. And you can see that there's a lot of stakers, a lot of devices, right? And you could take a look at how many projects are already aboard, but there's about to be more, because my sponsor is not IotexPad, it's IotexPad, because the very first native IDEO launchpad and the incubation platform is about to launch, right? So as big as the ecosystem is, well, it's about to get bigger. You know, launchpads are very popular. Now, you know, it's all about IDOs, right? No one really does an ICO anymore. No project does ICOs. It's all IDOs. And usually they're with the launchpad, right? So all future IOTX dApps, and there's many that's probably pending, right? They're all going to be coming on top of this. And you know what? They actually formed some partnerships already. So first of all, IOTX recognized them. They had this kind of live thing last week to kind of introduce them. But also what's interesting is IotexPad also launched with this other, I guess, partner up with this other launchpad called MetaLaunch, which is actually on Binance Smart Chain. So now the two are actually working together to co-launch, co-incubate, and advise projects together. And it's interesting because it's kind of cross-chains. It's cross-chain between Binance Smart Chain and IotX Chain, so kind of interesting. So if you want to check them out, please do so. Their URL is in the description of this video. Bitcoin is still kind of steady, but you know what? Fundamentals are great, and you know what? I still believe in it. I believe it's going to continue forward. It's got to be patient. But today I cover Avalanche. Hopefully I was not muted during my Avalanche, because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff with Avalanche, and hopefully they weren't, whatever I was saying was not muted. So, all right, guys, that is it. I think it's time to call it a night. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, guys. Oh, by the way, while I was muted, I guess it's good because I gave away a lot of stuff for Spider-Man, so I guess it's good that I did not, I was muted. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.